We are live here after the Jets lose to the Baltimore Ravens and fall to 2-9 on the season. 23-10 is the final score. I'm your host, Richie Malora. We got a lot to break down in this post-game reaction. This was a winnable game. The Jets felt like we had some positive energy in that first half going into halftime up 10-7. But then the second half is where everything started to get a little bit out of control for these New York Jets. They were unable to make the big plays when it mattered the most, and they had one too many mistakes. All right, so we're going to break it all down right here in this live post-game reaction. Let me know your thoughts in the chat right now of your overall breakdown of this game as we're about to jump into it right away. Now, Tyrod Taylor got the start in this one. Justin Fields was benched, and we had some productivity on this offense through the air, but it was not enough. Scoring 10 points is basically not going to win you any game in this league unless your defense is absolutely dominant. And the Jets defense did their job in the first half, but unfortunately for them, they had one too many penalties that really hurt them in this game. The Jets held the Ravens to 0-5 on third down in the first half. That is a big sign of progression for this defense to get those critical stops on third down. And then to start off the second half, the Jets had a 3rd and 15 on defense, and the Baltimore Ravens converted because of a big-time penalty. And that was the first sign of the Ravens starting to come back and start dominating this football game. And then they went out there and scored 14 unanswered points. Isaiah Oliver had such a bad penalty. 3rd and 15. Lamar Jackson just throws it up down the right sideline. Oliver's just all over the receiver. I think it was Likely, and the refs called a PI. That was a good call by the refs. It's not like it was a bad call or anything. It was a bad play from Isaiah Oliver. After that penalty, instead of it being 4th and 15 and the Ravens punt the ball to the Jets with a 7-3 lead in the second half, then the Ravens take advantage. They march down the field, and they score a touchdown, and it's 10-7. And then the very next possession in the second half, the Jets get the ball, and for some reason, I don't know, understand the philosophy here. The Jets go for it on 4th down, but not only that, on 3rd down, they hand the ball off to Isaiah Davis on 3rd and 4. There was another play, another sequence in the first half where the Jets literally handed the ball off to Isaiah Davis 3 straight times. Somebody that make sense to me. Why are we handing the ball off to Isaiah Davis out of the shotgun on 3rd down? So the Jets hand the ball off to Davis. He gets 2 yards, and then it's 4th and 2. The Jets, they are in Ravens territory, right? No, they're in their own territory, around the 40-ish yard line. And on 4th and 2, instead of giving your defense an opportunity to bounce back, they go for it. And what happens? It was an incomplete pass to John Mechie, and then it's a turnover on downs. And just like that, the Ravens have all the momentum, up 10-7, and then they score a touchdown, and they score 14 unanswered points in a blink of an eye, and now the Jets are down big. And that right there was the complete disaster of that game for me, man. Down 17-7 at that point. And, that sequence lost the Jets this football game. Absolutely. There's another big-time penalty on that drive, by the way. They could have held him 3 points, but Tony Adams just completely throws Zay Flowers to the ground on 3rd down, which would have held the Ravens to kick 3 points. Instead, it turns into a touchdown for the Ravens. So that's another big-time penalty. 2 defensive penalties, one by Isaiah Oliver, one by Tony Adams. That completely was a backbreaker for this Jets football team, which led to the Ravens scoring 2 touchdowns. And that can't happen. You cannot have 2 penalties that result in 2 touchdowns on those said drives. So those are 2 critical moments of the game. Going for it on 4th down was not the time to do that, in my opinion, especially when you're running the ball on 3rd and 4 to try to set up the 4th down. Go for the aggressive 1st down conversion on 3rd and 4. Why are the Jets handing the ball off to Davis, our backup running back, on 3rd and 4 to set up a more manageable 4th down? Just go for the 1st down conversion on 3rd and 4. Call a pass. I don't understand that philosophy. That was very frustrating to see the Jets do that. And then you talk about in the fourth quarter, the Breece Hall drive. Now, this is very frustrating. You see Breece Hall have a monster drive that ends in a fumble. He gets the Jets all the way down into the red zone single-handedly. A nice dump off to Breece. He has a spin move. He goes across the field. He picks up like 50-something yards, sets the Jets up in the red zone. he gets the ball again on a screen. He gets the first down. It's like, okay, you got to feed Breece Hall. He's the man that brought them all the way down. And at this point, the Jets are down 10 points, and it's still a game. Plenty of time on the clock, around 8 minutes left. And if the Jets score a touchdown, it's a 3-point game. And the only thing the Jets need is a stop and to get the ball back to potentially tie it or take the lead. But instead of scoring a touchdown or even 3 points, Breece Hall fumbles the ball. And the Ravens, they stole that away from Breece Hall. And the frustrating thing about the way Breece Hall fumbled, I always think of it from a Jets fan perspective defensively. The Jets continue to not force turnovers. Yet another game, the Jets do not get an interception or force a turnover. You see the Ravens, how Humphrey went and attacked that football and just completely stripped it from Breece. Like, where is that energy on the defense for the Jets? But that's another conversation. So the Ravens saw an opportunity. Breece Hall got a little too cute. He tried to rumble his way into the end zone instead of just going down, and he fumbles the rock. They stripped him clean. They recover the fumble, and that right there, you can't recover from that. You can't recover from that. You had a great drive that pushes you all the way down the field that results in an unfortunate turnover. And then right there is when the Ravens just really took it and ran with it. So one too many mistakes. The Ravens did not have many mistakes, right? They didn't play great football. The Ravens did not look like, Lamar Jackson. We held him in check. Derrick Henry, the Jets defense held him in check, but they were opportunistic. And it really felt like the same energy of that Patriots game last week on Thursday Night Football. The Jets continue to beat themselves, and that's a problem, right? There are some positives in this game. And remember, this part of the season is all about evaluating this roster. Who are the Jets going to build around for the next season? Why did the Jets go to Tyrod Taylor instead of Justin Fields in this game? Well, the reason was the Jets want to evaluate the offense around the quarterback, and they were able to do that in this one. John Mechie III was one of the bright spots of this game for the New York Jets. He was an absolute stud. I mean, I can't lie to you guys that I'm extremely impressed with the job of John Mechie III. Now, the Jets lost the game, of course, so it doesn't really feel like anything to celebrate, but at a position of weakness the New York Jets have, it feels like the Jets hit a nice little find here in John Mechie. Even A.D. Mitchell made some plays as well as the game continued. So those two young pass catchers played some quality football, but let's get into the stats a little bit deeper in the box score as we break it all down right here for the Jets post-game recap. Appreciate everybody tuning into the post-game recap. If you did not already, let me know your thoughts in the chat as we go into the box score here on Bleacher Report's website. So Tyrod Taylor finished the game 17-28, 222 yards and a touchdown. And the interception he threw was just when the game was over, threw it up, didn't really matter. Listen, this is why you go to Tyrod. Now, Tyrod Taylor didn't have a great game, and I don't think anybody was expecting Tyrod to go out there and dominate. But what Tyrod did is he allowed this offense to be operational. He allowed the offense to actually move the ball vertically, give John Mechie the ball, give A.D. Mitchell the rock, give Mason Taylor some looks, and that's exactly what he did, averaging 13.1 yards per attempt. I mean, Tyrod's not a good quarterback. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. So this is not about evaluating if Tyrod is good or bad. We know who Tyrod Taylor is at this point. He's a veteran that knows how to play quarterback on a very meh. Like, he's not terrible. He's not great. Tyrod is just your average veteran quarterback. Breece Hall was definitely held in check on the ground today. 16 carries for just 44 yards, but he did get a lot of action through the air, which was really fun to see the Jets do that. So from the receiving angle of things, Breece Hall finished the game with 4 catches and 75 yards, but that fumble costed him. John Mechie, 6 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. That's really good stuff. That is really good stuff there from John Mechie III, man, because if you want to evaluate, something positive of this football team offensively, it is the performance of John Mechie III, because he's out there completely showing you that this could be someone you build around. And I know A.D. Mitchell, 7 targets, 2 catches for just 42 yards, averaging 21 yards per catch. He's still finding his footing here. But John Mechie III on 7 targets, 6 catches, 65 and a touchdown. I like what I'm seeing from him, bro, because the Jets are looking forward into the 2026 season. They are. And yeah, they're going to try to figure out ways to win games right now. But let's be honest, man, this is about the 2026 season at this point. We don't have a quarterback on this team that's going to be here next year. And that's what the Jets are doing. They're trying to figure out who's going to be looking good on the roster for the foreseeable future. And I think John Mechie is proving that he's a solid piece for the future if he continues this pace, man. He looks solid. It's got rock solid hands. He's getting open over the middle of the field. He is not afraid to, make people miss in the open field. He feels like a reliable piece that could pick up a first down when you need to the most. So shout out to John Mechie III. Love seeing what he was able to do today. And then A.D. Mitchell, he didn't have a bad game. He didn't have any drops, but the targets that went his way, they were either forced him out of bounds. It's not like he had any bad drops. There was a play where he beat his man on the left sideline and Tyrod Taylor missed him. So unfortunate that Tyrod was unable to really get him rolling. Mason Taylor, just 3 catches, 21 yards. Didn't really have anything positive to do on that end. Nick Folk does his usual stuff as a elite kicker. I think he has like a crazy amount of kicks that he's hit in a row. The kick return team always doing their job. But on defense, Jamie and Sherwood led the way with 13 total tackles. Malachi Moore with 6. But the problem with this defense, man, not any turnovers. Like, we're not going to be a successful football team without forcing turnovers, bro. It's that simple. The Jets got to figure out a way to get turnovers. And if they're not an opportunistic defense that either punches the ball free and force fumbles or get their hands on the ball in the secondary and get some stops and force some turnovers, like, we'll never be able to watch this Jets football team go out there and execute. And yeah, this offseason is going to be all about getting new players in the building, but I really feel like the defense, it's disappointing to see them not get the turnovers. But I will say, holding the Ravens to just 23 points, the first half was really impressive. Like, you saw this defense go out there and completely dominate. 0-5 the Ravens were on third downs. Like, that's big. It's a big sign of progress. But at the end of the day, the Jets have to be able to get the turnovers. I keep stressing it. So I don't know if that's a sign of just bad play from Steve Wilks, but hey, the Jets were unable to do it. They got a sack from Jawan Briggs in this game. I think that was the only sack the Jets had. And it's frustrating, bro, because the defense, I'm not going to blame this game on them for sure. When your offense just puts up that many points, 10, it's not going to be all in the defense, man. The defense, the penalties was an issue, and the Breece Hall fumble. And, when it comes to Aaron Glenn and how to evaluate him in this one, I think that if you're a Jets fan looking at Aaron Glenn right now, you really got to look at it from this perspective. He had this team ready to play early, and I think he's stressed this entire week that they want to start fast. And the Jets, they started fast. I mean, they had a lead going into halftime, but now they're not a second-half team. Like, usually the Jets under Aaron Glenn, we see them play bad in the first half and play great in the second half. And now in this game, it kind of got flipped on its head. And it's frustrating that we don't have a team that can play well on all 3 phases of the ball collectively. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, they're a very good football team. They're red hot entering this game. They've won multiple games in a row. I mean, it was going to be hard for the Jets to win. I mean, the Jets were like 14.5-point underdogs entering the game. They cover the spread because it was a 13-point loss. Not really a big deal. But I think that the Jets really were competitive, and that fumble by Breece is really going to haunt him. I don't know if you noticed this, but Breece Hall had a towel over his head after the game and just had his eyes rolled up to the sky after that fumble. He couldn't believe it. He knew that he had a chance to be the reason why, because remember the game against the Bengals when the Jets just came all the way back and won? That was because of Breece. Right? Breece Hall usually is the clutch guy for this Jets offense in the fourth quarter. When you need a play to be made in the fourth quarter, Breece Hall's name was always called upon, and he always came through. In this game, he came through, but then he didn't. That's the frustrating thing that Breece is going to have to swallow, is that one right there. Not being able to go out there and make the big play when we needed him to the most. So Breece Hall, very unfortunate stuff to see him go out there and not execute and cough up the ball, because, you can go and look at, we never know what would have happened. But say hypothetically the Jets scored a touchdown on that and they made it a 3-point game, 20-17. The defense still had to go out there and make a play and get the ball back. Who knows if the defense would have done that? Because you can argue they wouldn't. You could have seen the Ravens just march down the field and then the Jets still would have lost the game. But at least it would have given the defense that chance. And that's what I really wanted to see is, okay, offense responds. What does this defense got in store? Can they go get a stop but we don't even get to see that, right? So beyond frustrating stuff, the Jets fall to 2-9. I think there's a lot of people that are pro-tank that are happy right now. Congratulations. The Jets got a loss, so the tankathon is looking good. The Jets are going to remain at the top of the NFL draft for the 2026 season. And I think that the competitive nature of this football team looks good. And another thing I'll say, like the defense, let's not forget that we traded away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Okay? And the defense doesn't look like it's terrible. Like, you would assume that the Jets trading away their two faces of the defense there would be a big sign of regression. I have not seen that yet. And that's a positive. It definitely is. When you trade away Quinnen and Sauce, you'd think there's going to be a big step back. But there really hasn't not been. Jawan Briggs, our defensive tackle, has been a freaking stud. He has more sacks than Quinnen does this season, which is crazy. A.Z. Thomas returns, a Jets rookie corner. He didn't have a great game. He got beat a couple times, but he made some plays. So the Jets are young. They're finding ways to bounce back. They're finding ways to win, but not in this one, man. Not in this one. The Jets were unable to get the job done, and it's definitely a frustrating game to watch them go out there and not execute in the clutch. And in the second half, bro, the question that we are all going to be asking ourselves in this game is, why did Aaron Glenn go for it on fourth down there? Why did Aaron Glenn go for it on fourth down in the start of the third quarter? I like the aggressiveness, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think they should have done that. Especially if you don't get it, you give the Ravens that opportunity. And I think that the mindset that I hated in that situation was simple, right? The Jets on 3rd and 4, it felt like they were preparing themselves to go for it on fourth down. I don't like that mindset. It's third down. Try to convert the third down. Don't try to get some yards to make it fourth and manageable. It's not a good look. That's not a good look, bro. Not a good look from this offense. And I think that Tanner Engstrand, I wish I could ask him a question, bro. The conservative nature was too much. They went and handed the ball off to Isaiah Davis 3 straight plays on offense in the first half. What was that? 1st and 10, hand off to Davis. 2nd and 10, hand off to Davis. 3rd and 5, hand off to Davis. Punt. What? What was that? It's disgusting. I don't like that. I don't like that. And then the penalty on our safety, Tony Adams. Penalty on our corner, Isaiah Oliver. Like, those plays, that can't happen. If you are a football team going up against a team like the Ravens on the road as big-time underdogs, the only way you can possibly pull off this upset is if the New York Jets play perfect mistake-free football. And the Jets can't do that right now. You know, last week they had the issues with the drops. They had some issues of not taking advantage of opportunities. They had plays to be made and they didn't make it happen. And this one kind of felt that same way, but in a different way. You can't fumble at the goal line. You can't have 2 big-time penalties on 3rd down. Like, you're not going to beat a team like the Ravens with that energy. You're just simply not going to. How do you evaluate everything? Like, you can weigh the pros and cons. You know, the players on defense, Jawan Briggs is great, but I feel like individually speaking, there are some guys to be excited about, but this is about the collective. This is about the squad being able to come together and figure out a way to win a game. And I think the discipline needs to be talked about. Like, that penalty by Tony Adams pissed me off more than anything, bro. What are you doing? The ball was sailing over his head, and he hooks his arm and throws Zay Flowers to the ground. I mean, that's just, like, ridiculous. Jamie Sherwood had a chance to sack Lamar Jackson. Gets a clean look at the quarterback. He throws himself in his upper half. Like, go low, tackle him. Lamar breaks the tackle and then throws the ball out of bounds. Like, the Jets had so many opportunities to make splashy plays that they were unable to take advantage of. And that's what it felt like all game. That's exactly what it felt like, bro. And now the Jets are going up against the Atlanta Falcons at home next week. And the Jets are making NFL history, bro. 0 interceptions. How do you not have one pick? Do you know how hard it is to not have an interception? You have any idea how hard that is to not get a pick? It boggles my mind, to be honest with you guys, that the Jets are unable to have one interception. Because at sometimes, a team just makes a crazy mistake where they gift wrap you a pick, whether it's tipped at the line of scrimmage or it just falls into your favor. But they don't even get that. The Jets don't get any good luck. No good luck. And it's not like, you can't rely on luck. You have to be opportunistic. You have to go out there and have a mindset to go take the ball away, not let the ball get, handed to you on a silver platter. So the Jets got to evaluate a lot of things. The coordinators, Steve Wilks, Tanner Engstrand, Aaron Glenn as the head coach. There's a lot of things you got to evaluate because the Jets right now are looking, ahead. We're looking ahead. The Jets got so much capital. They're going to be an influx of players coming to this roster next year. And I'm excited to see who those players are. But right now, they need to learn on the fly. The reason why, again, Tyrod was the quarterback is to evaluate the young players like Mechie, who look great, Mitchell, Mason Taylor, Breece Hall. The offensive line also didn't really have a great game. They didn't. When it comes to running the football, it starts up front. And the Jets' offensive line, they got bullied. They did. Breece Hall got limited to how many yards per attempt? Whatever it was is brutal. Let me double check so I have it right. 2.8 yards per attempt they held Breece Hall to. You have any idea how bad that is? That's really bad. 16 carries, 44 yards. The longest carry he had was 9 yards. So that's not a good look, man, from the run game because the offense starts there. The offense starts there. And Tanner Engstrand, he has not proved to know what he's doing yet. He has some flashes, and then he kind of goes into a shell, and then he has some really questionable stuff where you're like, what's going on there, Tanner? I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate Tanner Engstrand. As of right now, he's not looking like a guy that we can really believe in. Maybe this year of experience and growth he can learn from, and they build a system around a new quarterback next year. But as of right now, Tanner Engstrand does not look like he even knows what he's doing. He really doesn't. There's really not much from the coaching staff that we've seen that we can say, okay, that could be built upon. I mean, the defense was not trash today. I want to make that really clear. The penalties, it was the issue on defense. The Ravens going for it on 4th and goal, our defensive line got absolutely bullied. That pissed me off. But at the end of the day, bro, this Jets team, it still frustrates me. And some people always ask me, why do you still care so much? Why do you let this team frustrate you? Because I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that. I just care. I don't know. Whether we're going for the playoffs or we're going for a draft pick, it still pisses me off, man. So, Jets fall to 2-9 after losing 23-10. And now we got to wait for this Jets football team to show what they're capable of against a bad football team in the Atlanta Falcons next week. We got all week to talk about it. But I had a feeling that the Jets were going to make this a competitive game and maybe pull off the upset, but not so much. Back-to-back games where the Jets won 2 in a row against the Bengals and Browns, and they lose 2 in a row to the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. Frustrating stuff. That's my post-game recap. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat if you do not already. Got to give a big shout out to Sleeper. As always, a lot of fun games happening right now for the 4:30 window. If you guys want to take advantage of a 100% match up to $100, don't forget to use the code JETS to get your Sleeper picks on there, a $20 entry for free. Free bucks using my code JETS. Don't forget to check them out, guys. Really do appreciate it. If you guys can come on here and support the channel by checking out Sleeper. Link at the top of the description, folks, to sign up today if you have not already. We're going to break down this game in more detail on the post-game recap video that we're going to record right now, bringing the juice, bringing the fire on that video as we always do. So stay tuned for that video as it's going to be live in the next hour or so. I'm going to jump, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll see you on the post-game video. Thank you guys so much as always. I'm out of here. Much love.